The latest escalation happened on the 27th of February when Pakistan carried out airstrikes in Kabul and two other Afghan provinces. This came just a day after, on 26 February, when Afghanistan launched a cross-border attack targeting Pakistani army positions inside Pakistan. After this, Pakistan's Defense Minister Khwaja Asif declared that Pakistan is now in an open war with the Taliban-led Afghan government. Now, many people think this conflict started recently when Pakistan accused Kabul of harboring Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, the TTP. But that's not really the origin of the conflict. The mistrust between Afghanistan and Pakistan goes back to 1947, and if we go even deeper, it traces back to the 19th century. Since Pakistan's creation in 1947, except for brief phases, relations between these two countries have largely remained bitter. Whether Pakistan was under civilian governments or military rule, the tension has been structural. So where does this mistrust actually come from? The first and most fundamental issue is the Durand Line. This boundary was drawn in 1893 by Mortimer Durand, representing British India, in agreement with the Afghan Amir Abdur Rahman Khan. At that time, it was meant to divide spheres of influence between the British Empire and Afghanistan. It was not designed as a permanent international border. But when Pakistan was created in 1947, it insisted that the Durand Line be recognized as the official international boundary. Afghanistan refused. In fact, Afghanistan was the only country that opposed Pakistan's entry into the United Nations. The deeper problem was this. The Durand Line divided the Pashtun population. Large Pashtun tribal regions were split between Afghanistan and what became Pakistan. Families, tribes and communities that historically saw themselves as one were suddenly separated by a colonial boundary. Afghanistan never fully accepted this division. In the 1950s and 60s, Afghan Prime Minister Muhammad Daud Khan even floated the idea of Pashtunistan, proposing that Pashtun majority areas of Pakistan should be joined with Afghanistan. Relations became so tense that in 1961, Pakistan closed its border with Afghanistan, severely affecting trade. So you can see this hostility existed decades before the Taliban or the TTP came into the picture. The second issue is trade and transit. Afghanistan is a landlocked country. It has no access to the sea. For international trade, it depends on neighboring states. Iran to the west, Pakistan to the east, and Central Asian republics to the north, which were once part of the Soviet Union. Among these, the Pakistani route, especially access to Karachi port, has traditionally been the easiest and cheapest. But Pakistan has frequently used this geographical advantage as leverage. It has restricted transit routes, limited Indian goods going to Afghanistan via Wagah, and occasionally tightened access to ports. From Kabul's perspective, this feels like coercion. Pakistan, on the other hand, sees it as strategic necessity. Islamabad has long feared a two-front situation, India on the east and Afghanistan aligning with India on the west. So it has always wanted a friendly government in Kabul. Now comes a third dimension, ethnicity. Afghanistan's political identity is strongly tied to Pashtun leadership. In Pakistan, the state and military establishment are widely perceived as dominated by Punjabi-speaking elites. The Durand Line split the Pashtun population between two countries, but tribal bonds never disappeared. For decades, Pashtun areas inside Pakistan were governed under the federally administered Tribal Areas Framework, which gave them semi-autonomous status. In 2018, these areas were merged into Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Many Pashtuns viewed this as erosion of autonomy. Afghanistan also expressed concern. This ethnic overlap complicates security issues today. Both the Afghan Taliban and the TTP share ideological similarities and Pashtun tribal links. When the Taliban returned to power in 2021, Pakistan expected them to act decisively against the TTP. But the Taliban leadership in Kabul has been reluctant. Pakistan believes it supported Afghanistan in critical moments. During the Soviet invasion, when it backed Mujahideen groups, during the US intervention, and in facilitating the Taliban's return to power. Therefore, it expected long-term strategic loyalty. Afghans, however, see it differently. They argue that Pakistan acted in its own interest, particularly to gain strategic depth against India, not out of pure goodwill. And above all, Afghan political culture values independence. No government in Kabul wants its foreign policy dictated from Islamabad. That difference in expectations, gratitude versus sovereignty, lies at the heart of the present tension. Now, what does this mean going forward? Pakistan is already dealing with internal militancy, economic pressure, and insurgencies. A prolonged conflict with Afghanistan could stretch its security apparatus further. Countries like China, which have major investments in Pakistan under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, are watching closely because instability in this region affects wider strategic projects. For India, this creates a possible strategic opening to re-engage Afghanistan diplomatically. But any move would have to be cautious to avoid reinforcing Pakistan's narrative of external interference. So in conclusion, this conflict is not about religion. Both are Islamic countries, but geopolitics outweighs religious identity. The roots of this war lie in a colonial boundary drawn in 1893, the division of the Pashtun people, trade and transit leverage, security paranoia, and competing visions of sovereignty. The events of February are just the latest chapter in a mistrust that has been building for more than a century.